Professor Radisson. This is Philosophy 150. I would like to bypass senseless debate altogether and jump to the conclusion, which every sophomore is already aware of: there is no God. All that I require from each of you is that you fill in the papers I've just given you with 3 little words: God is dead. Mr. Wheaton, is something wrong?
I can't do what you want. I'm a Christian.
If you cannot bring yourself to admit that God is dead, then you will need to defend the antithesis.
I hope people who watch my videos know that I'm not an atheist, I'm a philosopher. But since God's Not Dead was such a big success, I will look at the debate between the quote atheist end quote and the Christian and tell my mind about it. Let's go. One more thing, I'm gonna take the side of the atheist because I think Kevin Sorbo, as a philosophy teacher, makes a horrible job in this movie.
Atheists say that no one can prove the existence of God, and they're right. But I say no one can disprove that God exists.
Well, this is irrelevant. God is a hypothesis. A hypothesis is something... If I say the ocean is blue because it's a mirror of the sky. At first, this is only a hypothesis, but if I can find evidence for that I'm right, it becomes a scientific theory.
But the only way to debate this issue is to look at the available evidence. And
This may be a spoiler for everyone who doesn't know this scene, but he's actually not providing any sort of evidence. I mean... Let's just keep watching.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to put God on trial, with Professor Radisson as the prosecutor, me as the defense attorney, and you as the jury. Most cosmologists now agree that the universe began some 13.7 billion years ago in an event known as the Big Bang. So let's look at theoretical physicist and Nobel Prize winner Steven Weinberg's description of what the Big Bang would have looked like. And since he's an atheist, we can be sure there isn't any believer bias in his description. In the beginning, there was an explosion, and in 3 minutes, 98% of the matter there is or ever will be was produced. We had a universe.
Yeah, and this is the point where you kind of misrepresent the theory of Big Bang. I first didn't believe in the Big Bang theory because I didn't understand it, because it was always presented to me like in this short amount of time the whole universe was created. And it didn't create it in, what did he say, 3 minutes? No, just the matter was created in that time. The universe is still expanding right now. We're still in the Big Bang. You know, we're moving away from the center of the universe right now. Stephen Hawking once wrote a story about that. I think it was A Brief History of Time, that the universe is still expanding, and life can only exist within this time period. There is a time period of expansion, and then there is a time period where everything is falling back into the center of the universe to create another Big Bang. It's an endless circle. Every energy was on a very tiny spot, maybe as big as a grain of sand. And then it expanded. At first, maybe faster, and then slower, but we are still in the process of expanding. When all suns have turned into black holes and they fed on every matter that exists in the universe, they will become so heavy that because of gravity, they will move towards each other, and then they will create a very tiny but massively loaded point of energy, and the pressure in that tiny grain will build up until the next Big Bang happens, and then the circle starts again. Okay, we can continue now.
For 2,500 years, most scientists agreed with Aristotle on the idea of a steady-state universe, that the universe has always existed with no beginning and no end. But the Bible disagreed. In the 1920s, Belgian astronomer George Lemaitre, a theist, who's actually also...
What's a theist?
A theist is someone who believes in the existence of God. He said that the entire universe, jumping into existence in a trillionth of a second, out of nothingness in an unimaginably intense flash of light, is how he would expect the universe to respond if God were to actually utter the command in Genesis 1:3, "Let there be light." In other words, the origin of the universe unfolded exactly how one would expect after reading Genesis, and for 2,500 years, the Bible had it right, and science had it wrong.
You're kind of right here. You see, philosophy was wrong, which is the basis of science, the origin of science. And yes, because you see, philosophy is not a science. Philosophy is the basis of science, but philosophy at first is just hypotheses. I already explained what a hypothesis is. You see, I'm making a statement, like the idea of the atom at first was the idea of a Greek philosopher, and it was just a hypothesis until we proved it. And even then we found out that he wasn't right in the way he thought he would be, but in another way. Because atom means unsplittable, and he thought it was the tiniest thing there is, but we found out there is such thing as, we call it, subatomic particles. Yeah, it's a little complicated. But see, the Bible also got it wrong. I already explained why your explanation is wrong. No, the universe did not just bump into existence and now is in it's in the same state for the last however long you think. No, the expansion of the universe is a very slow process, taking millions and millions of years. Okay, and God. In the Bible, they say God did it in 6 days. He created the whole universe in 6 days with everything that is in it and on the planet Earth. And you say old Hebrew texts explicitly say it from the morning to the evening, and it was 1 day. So they literally mean 1 day. It's not like a day is metaphorical in that matter. If you take it literally, it's a day. Okay, I have to make the first cut here, otherwise this is going on for too long. I will make this a many-part series, and this was part 1. Hope to see you next time. Holy crap. Bye.